A little-known ruling as a result of Brexit has left tens of thousands of Portuguese residents in UK as well as Brits with second homes in Portugal in a race against time if they want to avoid stiff financial penalties. The issue has to do with the requirement to nominate a fiscal representative. Explain reports the obligation has caught citizens and professionals on the hop, as it is not being communicated by the consulates or by the Secretary of State for the Portuguese communities. It has arisen as a consequence of the withdrawal of the UK from the European Union, says Lusa today. The state news agency has been sounding out some of the people affected by the ruling. Silvia de Sousa, based in York since 2003, believes the whole issue is absurd. In a digital age, communications go ahead over email, so why does there even need to be the physical presence of a fiscal representative in Portugal, she queries. In this case, Ms. de Sousa is the owner of an inherited property there. The only family she has in Portugal is an aged mother with Parkinson's disease, in other words, not equipped to be a fiscal representative. But if she hasn't found, which in this case means hired, a representative by the end of June, she could face a fine of up to 7,500 euros. Lawyers are charging up to 600 euros to be a fiscal representative. The situation becomes much more complicated in the case of properties owned by multiple people. Under the ruling, each one is expected to elect a fiscal representative. Says lawyer Sandra Carito, this new reality for the resident in the United Kingdom could lead to situations of abuse. The large majority of people with a fiscal number, if they have no taxation matters, should not have to pay such elevated sums just to have a fiscal representative. In her opinion, the amount charged should be adjusted to the needs of the client. But there is still the issue of fines, and that's between 75 and 7,500 euros. And the fact that if people do not have a fiscal representative, they will find themselves without any power to challenge any kind of lien or taxation order. For example, if they were to forget to pay their rates 1 year, the property could be seized and sold at public auction without the owner notified because they don't have a fiscal representative. The bank could also block a bank account as part of the regularization process, lawyer Miguel Reis tells Lusa. And an article said the nomination of a fiscal representative is obligatory for anyone who holds an NIF, that's a Portuguese fiscal number, but has a tax residence in another country, or who has been out of Portugal for more than 6 months. It is optional in the meantime for residents in EU countries or in the European Economic Space, which includes Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein. The Portuguese government estimates that the Portuguese community in the UK rounds out at around 400,000 people. Of these, around 375,000 are registered with consulates and around 335,000 have a UK residence on their citizens card, the Cartão de Cidadão. Anyone, says Lusa, can become a fiscal representative. They simply have to keep correspondence related with income and contributions and communicate them to the non-residents. They do not have any responsibility when it comes to making payments. On December 23rd, 8 days before the end of the Brexit transition period, the Portuguese government published a dispatch declaring that citizens and collective people registered on the AT Tax Authority's database would have 6 months until June 30th to nominate a fiscal representative, independent of the existence of earnings or property in Portugal. The requirement for a fiscal representative also applies to thousands of Brits with second homes in Portugal, says Lusa. Sandra Carito believes that non-resident Brits have a clear case for complaining here, as most of the time they will be paying someone simply to receive advice and notices to pay their IMI. If the situation was in reverse, that means if the British move abroad, there is no rule obliging them to nominate a fiscal representative in the UK, she said. But as it is, there could be as many as 15,000 British property owners in Portugal affected by this requirement, says Christina Hippesley, Director General of the Portuguese Chamber of Commerce in the UK. As far as Silvia de Sousa is concerned, the whole situation is completely ridiculous. She has told Lusa she will be formulating a complaint to the Justice Ombudsman, as several letters to the government, President of the Republic, and parliamentary groups, but she hasn't received any replies whatsoever. She told the paper Lusa she will even go so far as to risk a fine as she tries to get this ruling changed. She said, "What irritates me most is that we were not informed on how Brexit would affect us on national territory," she said. And just one more time, another small example from practical life about the consequences of Brexit. And as I said, there will be much more, and I will bring more of those over the years, and it will be years that we have to talk about Brexit. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel. Auf Wiedersehen.